course, if your family has a hearty appetite, I would suggest then that old popular holiday favorite, the Bantha Rump.
Are there no prisons and the union workhouses? Are they still in operation? Then why do you ask me for a donation? With that, I greet you and thank you again for joining us for another episode of Ken's Corner. Ken, how are you doing, my friend?
I'm doing good, man. These off-the-wall awesome openings that has to be our new stick, man. That's an awesome opening. Last week was awesome. This week was awesome. Keep them going. Keep them going. I'm doing good, brother. I'm doing good.
I'll do my best. For those that do not know, Ken will be doing a Kachu Tenshin Amaguri Ken this week on the main media's news and fake reporting.
Yeah.
Ah, very good. Man, your fist moved so fast I couldn't even see them move.
No, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 punches.
Wow. Ken, you have a new shirt. That's a new one. I've never seen that one before.
Nope, it's a custom shirt that my wife made for me because I used to say this all the time when I was younger, and it says because that's how ninjas roll.
That is very appropriate if you got away with someone without anybody noticing.
Yes. Oh man, it's awesome.
So, Ken, this week we have a ton of comments, but I picked one from Rumble that I definitely wanted to go ahead and share with you. This is from 1 Hour 1. Ken and Jay. I'm going to give my age away, but what the heck? There was a show called The Outer Limits that started in September 1963. Since you have been discussing that there's a new Joe Biden, please read this program's description. An East Asian government plans to take over America by replacing White House officials and leading corporate executives with duplicate agents. They want to force the United States to pull out of Asia. The expected winner of the next presidential election is candidate William Lyon Selby, Sidney Blackmer. While on the campaign trail, he is killed and replaced by a foreign agent who has had his face molded using a new medical serum that temporarily plasticizes the skin to look identical to Selby. The mole, masquerading as Selby, is eventually elected. Though he fools the nations, the president's daughter begins to suspect that this man is not her father. She reveals her concern to Vice President Ted Peterson, who had also been targeted for replacement, but the attempt is unsuccessful. They end by saying, "We really enjoy the topics. May God richly bless you." But I wanted to get your thoughts on that, Ken. That's an interesting concept.
Yeah, that is. But there was another movie. I forget. Oh, help me out. It was about American
candidate.
No, it was called something else. It was a simple movie. It was about some accountant who he looks just like the president.
Oh yeah, Dave.
Dave.
Yeah.
That's it, Dave. Didn't we talk about that?
Oh yeah,
we talked about that. Yeah, we talked about that last week. That's right. And Sigourney Weaver was the wife. Yes, and she knew it was him. She knew he was a fraud. Yep. So, but there's been a couple movies like that. And
absolutely, but this is again sci-fi. And it's
sci-fi
funny how sci-fi somehow parallels reality sometimes.
Yes, absolutely. Yes. Oh my gosh. Oh man.
Here are some of the YouTube comments. We'll go
give me YouTube.
One by one. Pat Mellon 7523. Thank you, Ken and Jay, for another great episode. Your coverage of the various news events is a powerful reminder of what Romans 1, Chapter 1 mindset looks like and sounds like. God bless.
Yes, exactly.
Martin Wilbur, 1383. It's a nice t-shirt indeed. I would like to have one before the next pandemic. Blessings,
Yes.
brother.
Yes. That unvaccinated shirt last week, I got like 4 comments on it, man. And I owe you one, and everybody at Bible study wanted one too. So,
you know what? I'd settle for a blue ribbon that just says unvaccinated.
Yeah.
Becky Hunkup 8763. Sorry if I'm butchering that. Publicly subscribed to you 1 year ago. Great updates. Thank you.
Yes. No, simple. I like those.
Alicia Nunez says, keep up the good work, guys.
Yes.
And one of my personal favorites, No Baloney Mahoney, 7940. I think it's his name. Outstanding show today.
Yes, that's awesome. So I got a whole bunch of short ones. Hey, remember, guys, to like, share, subscribe, and leave a comment. Man. We have the most comments of all the shows on all the podcasts and all that on Moriel, and we love answering them. We love seeing your comments. So leave a comment. Let's hear from you.
This also brings up, because I remember another person asked, Ken, where one of your sources were from last week.
Yes. I sent it to him. I gave it to him.
Okay, great. Yeah. So we took care of that. See, that's another advantage of asking questions on the comments.
Yeah.
We'll either get back to you, or we will actually talk about it on the show. So it's a twofer.
Yep, absolutely. And it was a telegram. I think it was called the End Times channel or something like that. And I gave him that in the answer. So, but that's where I got it from.
Well, speaking of end times, the Middle East is erupting into complete chaos. Ken, talk to me about it.
So and that's a headline that I got. The Middle East is erupting after the leader, the killing of the leader of Hamas, Ismail Haniyeh. And nonetheless, he got killed in Tehran. They killed him in Iran. Tehran, the capital of Iran. Is Tehran the capital? Tehran's the capital, isn't it? Yeah.
Tehran
so
is the capital of Iran.
Yep. And the U.S. military has deployed additional fighter jets and Navy warships to the Middle East. Pentagon stated it would increase readiness, deploy more land-based ballistic missiles, defensive as well. Haniyeh's death was one in a series of killings of senior Hamas figures. So they killed a couple others, but he was the head honch of all of them. U.S. Embassy urges citizens to leave Lebanon and on any ticket available, because it's heating up, man. And Iran has reportedly deployed Russia's most powerful jamming communication system, the Murmansk BN, at strategic locations. So it's heating up, man. We'll see what happens.
Now, according to sources, Israel did not tell the Biden-Harris administration it was launching the strike on the Hamas leader, mostly because they would have told him that it was coming.
Yep, and the reputation. They have a reputation. This regime has a reputation of leaks, but Israel did not tell the Biden regime it was launching strike. Haniyeh was killed after he was seen at an inauguration event in Tehran for the new president. No surprise, in October 2023, Biden's special envoy to Iran and principal architect of resurrecting the nuclear deal was accused of sharing classified information with the Islamic regime. His name was Robert Maui, and it was claimed that he may have, this is quote, may have had a compromising tie to the Iranian regime. FBI is investigating him. I'm not holding my breath on that one, but I guess the security violations were so serious that Maui was suspended without pay, and his security clearance was suspended as well. So that's a crazy one. I didn't hear that. I read that, and I forget where I read that, but I hadn't heard that story.
Now, one of the unintended consequences of this, let's call it killing, was that leaders all over the Middle East have decided to go underground, which, by the way, very much imitates what is to come when Christ will come in the book of Revelation.
Yes. Great catch. Yes. Yes. So Israeli and Iran conflict. So is this Ezekiel 38, 39? We got to watch Turkey, but this is Persia and this is Gog or Magog. This is Gog right here. This is the two. So political and military leaders all move to bunkers. So Russia will not allow its main ally in the Middle East and fellow BRICS Plus member Iran to be defeated and destroyed. Russia has told the U.S. and Israel quietly that it will step in if the West goes too far in the coming regional war. Beirut Airport, did you see pictures of the Beirut Airport? Did you see how busy, how crazy it was? Mobbed.
I can only imagine.
Mobbed. People want to get out. Numerous countries have urgently told their citizens to leave Lebanon immediately to the upcoming war. So some of this is in the news. Some of it's in the alternative news. Some of it John Haller covered. So I'm being real brief on the stuff. I just want, just to have it as it's what we're watching right now. It's exactly the main news item that we're watching. It's nuts.
And almost as a counterstroke to what the statement from Russia has been about stepping in if it gets out of hand, just to make sure that we antagonize them a little bit more. Well, the Pentagon has declared red alert, and they have called for another carrier group to the Middle East.
Yep. And so the Pentagon deploys additional jet squadron warships and the USS Carrier Strike Force Group to the Middle East. Escalation of military presence, man. U.S. has bolstered existence. The U.S. forces already in the area and strengthening support for Israel. Pentagon press secretary explained that the added military assets are meant to bolster the protection of the U.S. forces in the region and address the security threats posed by Iran and its affiliated groups. The actions are described as defensive. Well, I've heard that before. I just want to know one thing. If Iran is such a threat, why do we keep giving them money? I digress. I don't know. Right? We give them billions. We give billions of dollars.
When you want to put on a production for an election, you got a saber rattle on your side, all the while paying off your potential opponent on the other side to saber rattle as well.
Yeah. That's nuts. It's nuts, man. We give them billions, but as I've said many times before, though, keep your eyes on Turkey. That's the they enter in and you got the triad there. I'm going out on a limb, and I'm calling the election is not going to happen because of war. I'm going out on a limb. Going out on a limb.
You're a very positive, optimistic kind of person. I personally believe the elections will happen, and
they'll be cheated on,
and we will have Kamala. That's
who I believe ends up in there anyway, regardless whether they have the elections or they don't. That's who they're not going to let it. They're not going to let it go to Trump. They're not.
I mean, okay. Let's just discuss Biden for a minute. For the past 4 years, we've been told he's completely compos mentis.
Yeah.
Been told that he's a sane Joe Biden that would question people on top of, the Senate. But yet we look at him, and today I think 90% of the population can recognize that Joe Biden was a complete puppet. And the people who are running the show are the same people that are putting Kamala Harris in office.
Yes, absolutely. And
so what does that say about her?
It's puppet number two. Yeah, absolutely puppet number two. It's nuts. It's crazy what we're witnessing. It's crazy what we're witnessing right now. Maranatha, man.
Yeah, please, Lord.
Yeah.
Come quickly.
Yeah.
Now, to go along with this, I believe we have a video for this next one. There is a lot of things going along in the world that are not about the United States, but in England, it is completely crazy.
Yes.
Let's see.
They didn't cover this so much with the
So armed, I believe,
Yeah.
if I
knives
read
and,
the
yeah.
story, with knives and axes are
Yep.
running around the streets searching for people who protested against immigrants.
Yeah.
Immigrants, by the way, because of the recent case of 3 young girls, I believe, were stabbed.
Yeah, and they were stabbed by a 17-year-old Muslim dude, and they say he wasn't a Muslim. I am calling he was. He was at a yoga and dance class. 8 other children suffered stab wounds. 5 of them critical. 2 adults were injured critically as well. They're apparently trying to protect the kids. But the unrest is labeled as the mainstream media is insufferable, man. They're labeling this far right extremism. And they give the Muslim they give them a hall pass, which basically means white people, right? So how about people are ticked off, right? So get out your popcorn, man, because this is crazy. But anyway, the civil unrest spreading across the UK. Elon Musk even said UK civil war is inevitable, and Mike Flynn said, he posted on X under Elon. He says not inevitable, it's already underway. So so this is what 2 of the this is what the head honch, the PM of the UK, they put mosques in the UK will be offered emergency security, and that's the Home Secretary that announced that. That's crazy. Mark my words, Britain leftist government will use this outbreak of violence to launch a crackdown on free speech, specifically against Elon Musk's X platform. Watch this. And if you saw the election in the UK, sadly for the Brits, the Labour Party recently won a massive parliamentary majority that will allow them to govern as they wish until 2029. So unfortunately, I think this won't continue in just the UK. I think a couple of years from now, we'll see some things like this too. And just look and see how they're handling this. Muslim mobs roam the streets with knives and machetes unchecked, and police as the Labour government prepares to crack down on far right thugs. Deal with this now before it's too late. This is a Muslim saying, I had a video that a Muslim was saying, deal with this now in 2017. While British police threatened patriots to full force of the law, police were advising Muslims on how to avoid arrest for wielding knives and machetes. And this is known as the 2-tier policing system. Tommy Robinson's rant on Twitter is epic. And basically, this is why, as a society, you should never give up your firearms. And that's the bottom line. Like France, they've turned their collective backs on Jesus Christ. They have. I mean, what's the percentage of churches in the UK? Like 1% or something like that. It's crazy.
I don't know the numbers, but how many of them are completely left wing?
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. That one, yeah. I don't know. The fastest growing religion is in Islam.
Oh, by far.
By far. And just like in France, and just like in Germany, and just like in Netherlands and Sweden, all of them. Yeah, they turn their backs on Jesus Christ, and this is God allowing this to happen. So it's just sad. And we were seeing the same thing here. We're seeing the beginnings of it.
How appropriate. We'll get to it later, but the verse that the Lord put on my heart ties so well with this right now. So when we get to it later, you guys will see how well the verse went with the show before we even knew what the show was about.
That's called supernatural. Yeah, supernatural. Wow. I love it. I'm excited. I don't know what the verse is. I'm excited. I want to hear it. Yeah, I want to hear it.
It's kind of crazy the way you were talking. Yeah. Now, those, back to the UK. For those that don't believe us when we say that there's violence going on in the streets of the UK, here's yet another video that we wanted to show you.
And there's tons of videos, and they're only on X. They're not on
YouTube. They're not on YouTube.
Media. They're not on any. Yeah.
What are they doing? Oh, the battering it!
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't imagine. I can't imagine just being overwhelmed.
That's the problem with giving up your firearms right there.
Yeah.
You give up your rights for self-defense.
Yeah.
You give up the rights to change a government when the government becomes tyrannical. Yet people are all about gun control, not realizing that gun control means you are powerless.
Yep. And Kamala is 10 times worse than Biden.
Oh, by far.
10 times worse than Biden, by far. Yeah. And it's just a judgment on this country. I don't know how they're going to take 400 million guns away, though. They're not going to. I mean, I'd rather die than be unarmed. That's just me. See how I don't want to be here if I have to be unarmed. Well, whatever God wants, but I have to be armed.
As Biden said, what are you going to do with your little shotgun, with your little AR-15 against an F-16?
Yeah.
And he's a moron because, they have direct energy weapons, which I'm just saying, what is that going to do?
Yep. Crazy.
Moving on. So this next part, obviously we can't talk about it on YouTube. YouTube would immediately probably censor the Memorial channel. But if you want to hear the full extent of this next topic, please go to Rumble, go to Twitter. We're allowed to speak about the truth there. But, we'll be fact-checked into complete oblivion and banning if we talk about this next subject. In Germany,
Yes.
Some
Germany,
big news came out. Ken, why don't you share what has come out?
Yeah, this comes from the protocols that were leaked this week from the German.
Artificial and natural flavors. Now, everybody loves a good tasting, food, drink, but some interesting side effects to some of these chemicals and compounds that they're creating for these.
Yeah. Interesting article I was reading yesterday on how artificial and natural flavors are sterilizing humanity. That was a crazy headline. They're nearly in every processed food you buy, and they are sterilizing humanity. This is how is this topic not talked about? And every day, and parents demanding a change. I mean, anyway, artificial and natural flavors make food taste good and too good actually, but mankind's laziness is their own downfall. So cooking from scratch truly is a gift to you and your family. We need to retrain our taste buds to actually enjoy wholesome foods again. And I started eating healthy when I was younger, and I continue to eat healthy. But it doesn't matter, I don't know. I had a heart attack. I got hip replacement. I got knee replacement. So who knows? I just thought it was really interesting that it was a sterilization of humanity that the natural flavors and artificial flavors are causing. So,
I mean, is it any wonder when you have people like Bill Gates that are buying up the food production side of things?
Yeah.
And then when you have different companies that work to enhance tastes with absolutely no ethics whatsoever when it comes to doing it.
Nothing. And they're just, it's part of, I'm just trying to figure out what part of the end times that is, man. And you'll eat bugs, Well, so, yeah.
I mean, from the sterilization, again, it's an attack on the Imago Dei of God.
Yes.
If we can stop creating images of God, it makes everyone go cold. Because you think about it, when a newborn is in a room, everybody's looking at that child, and they're just almost entranced at how precious and beautiful it is.
Absolutely.
And as less and less children are born, people naturally don't have that heart. Their heart hardens.
Yeah.
And you see that in so many people today that now they look at kids and like, ooh, I have to clean that?
Yeah. Their love will wax cold.
Yeah. Completely. It's all part of the same scheme.
Spirit. Yeah, scheme, spirit. Yep. Absolutely. Wow.
Now, talking about the schemes of men and the prince of this world, let's talk about Barbara Butch. Now, you may not believe you know Barbara Butch, but you do. In fact,
you do.
You probably have seen her many times.
Yep.
Because she played Jesus at the Last Supper at Paris.
Yep.
But she's made an announcement, Ken.
Yeah, she was in the Jesus position at the Olympic ceremony, and they claimed that it wasn't the Last Supper, that it wasn't the that it was a celebration to Dionysus or whatever, and
it was the ascension of Dionysus. Yes.
But she erased her tweet that she posted before when she said it was, the Last Supper. How do you like me eating or something about her eating the Last Supper, and then she erased that, and it's after. But she has now said she is going to sue anyone who has been mean to her after opening ceremony. So, sweetheart, that's 99% of people in Christendom and about 95% of people on Twitter next. So I was just wondering if they'd ever do Islam. That was my next question. Is do Islam next? Yeah. They will never do Islam, ever.
Yeah,
so
that would be a fatwa on.
Yep.
This, I mean, her name even Barbara Butch.
I know. I don't know if that's real. Who knows?
That's gotta be made up.
Yeah,
that's gotta be made up.
Yep.
Because didn't she say in her original tweet, "I'm playing a transgender Jesus"?
Yeah.
Lesbian transgender Jesus or something along those lines.
Yeah. And that's what she had. Yeah, she had to erase it. Yep, that's why she had to erase it, because she was like straight up. This is the Last Supper. They knew it was. They knew. And then the worst part was the kid. You saw the kid right next to the guy who had his genitals showing. Yeah. It's crazy. It's nuts. These people are nuts.
No,
I'm sure it gets a lot worse. Romans 1.
They have no sense of decency. They have no sense of innocence. According to them, every child should learn about transsexuals when they're 5 in kindergarten.
They're 5 years old. Yep. Less than that. 3 years old. 4 years old. Yep. Crazy.
Now, let's see. Our next story is J.D. Vance, according to an MSNBC political analyst, says that J.D. Vance wants more white people.
He wants more white children. More white children. He wants more white children, ignoring his 3 mixed race kids, right? So he's married to an Indian lady, Usha, U-S-H-A, Usha. And she would disagree, but it was on Morning Joe, of course. And she said, quote, J.D. Vance just wants more white children. That was a quote. Identity politics on steroids for the next 4 months. Can you get yourself the Karens are mentally ill and are anti-Republican triad. It's another white-hating white New Yorker. So, and these rich, spoiled feminists, it's a comedy show. It's a clown show. It's Maranatha. That's all I can say. I'm just, man, I can't handle it sometimes. But I do. I laugh. Especially at her.
You have to laugh or else you'd cry.
Yeah.
Now, this brings me back to when I was a young man, and not necessarily this Synod church, but I was a Lutheran, grew up in a Lutheran church, the Wisconsin Evangelical Lutheran Synod. But we're always told to stay away from those crazy ELCA Lutherans because they're not quite right in the head as
they're not quite right in the head. Thousands of Lutheran youth chant "Free, free, free Palestine" at a major ELCA gathering. The only thing the Evangelical Lutheran Church of America hates more than sound doctrine is the country of Israel. So recently, 16,000 kids gathered at an ELCA 2024 youth gathering and chanted "Free, free, free Palestine." The leaders on stage were wearing their kippahs and waving the Palestinian flag. It's one of the world's most woke denominations, man. Yeah. So...
These are the same people who would probably be cheering for Goliath.
Yes. Yeah.
If there was a Valley of Elah, they'd be like,
"Oh my God! Yes. Goliath, Goliath,
from the river to the sea,
from the river to the sea,
Goliath will be free.
Palestinians will be free." Yes, absolutely. Wow.
You know what? I personally, I think we should just stop calling them Palestinians. We should just call them Philistines.
Philistines, yes. That's their name. That's what they are.
We should just call them that because, in English, if you actually look in a dictionary, if you call someone a Philistine, it's actually an insult.
It is. Yep, it is. Oh, man.
Logic.
Uncircumcised Philistine.
Yes.
There you go.
Good story with David in that one.
David, man, that's a good story. Yep.
That's the one thing. I mean, I can't imagine David and the smell when he comes in to pick up McCall.
Yeah.
And from Saul, it's like, here you go. You asked me to take care of this for you.
Yeah,
here's a bag full of nastiness.
Man, wow. Yep. Wow.
Let's talk about something else that really is quite disturbing, especially since this person is lauded as, the next Christian leader of the right. Jordan Peterson interviews a young lady, I think, named Danielle Smith.
Yep.
Who claims conservatives need to get with the times. Now, what is she talking about when she says we need to get with the times?
Well, she says that conservatives must embrace homosexual couples as nuclear families. And she is part of the United Conservative Party, which is, she considers herself a conservative libertarian. And she's in Alberta. She's up in Canada, so she's in Alberta. She said in an interview with Jordan Peterson that conservatives should modernize their view of the, quote, nuclear family and include homosexual parents. So, and Peterson let her comment slip by. So she said the homosexuals increasingly are wanting to have children. She also said there's a growing gay conservative movement. And I've read I was reading domestic violence in the LGBTQ relationship is 8 times higher than that of heterosexuals. So that's an interesting one. And that was a DOJ report. So Peterson didn't flinch and let the Smith and let Smith's comments on homosexual parenting pass by. There is a biblical building block of society, and it is man-woman marriage. And that's just straight up. Children need both their mothers and fathers. We know that. And there is an enduring moral order that all of us have imprinted on our souls. And it starts in Genesis, Genesis 1, 2, and 3. Yep.
Yeah. Further, it just shows how far even the right is going to fall.
Yeah.
Because
when
a person like Jordan Peterson lets that go, he has no moral compass. No. He doesn't know, like you said, what the basic building block of society is.
Yeah.
And by the way, let me just state this: if you're in a homosexual relationship and you want to have a kid, the easiest way you can do that is not be in a homosexual relationship.
Yeah, that's it. There's zero chance of having a baby. So.
Oh, well, actually, I mean, in today's ludicrous society, yes, you'll find someone after paying them, a handsome sum of money, a young 20-something-year-old girl that will be more than happy to be a surrogate for $30,000-$40,000.
Yep, and that's all you see though is a surrogate. That's all you see.
So. A new classification of sex worker, let's call it.
Oh, man. Shaking your heads.
In Google's latest attempt at electioneering, they decided to hide some information. Now, what information do they deem that they need to hide?
Well, now if you type in the same information, it changes. But at the beginning of this week, Google feature omitted search results for failed Trump assassination, and they got called on it, which is awesome. They would you would literally search for attempted. This is quote attempted assassination on former President Trump, and the search engine failed to populate the correct results. And multiple people posted on this on X, on Instagram. There, I saw a couple posts. The autocomplete feature omitted the results, drawing criticism from social media users who then accused the big tech giant of trying to influence the presidential election. So screenshots from people at Google instead showed results of failed assassination attempts. So it came in, if you put in Ronald Reagan, it came in. If you put in Archduke Ferdinand, it came in. Bob Marley came in. President Ford came in. President Kennedy came in. All with autofill. You put up to Trump, and it would not even autofill. And multiple people posted that. Even the exact words Trump assassination attempt would not show results. And big tech is trying to interfere in the elections again. And to help Kamala Harris, wrote Donald Trump Jr. on his Twitter. And he also wrote, we all know this is intentional election interference from Google, truly despicable. A spokesperson for Google said our systems have protections against autocomplete predictions associated with political violence. Oh, man. So all the other people that got assassinated were okay. Yeah. And he also said autocomplete is just a tool to help people save time. Yeah, so big companies, big tech companies have been accused by conservatives in the past of silencing conservative voices and omitting search results, harmful to Democratic figures. So get out your popcorn. We're just going to see how this one goes, and they're going to just keep doing stuff like this.
Google has become the 1984 dystopian nightmare of the Ministry of Truth.
Yes, absolutely what I was thinking. Absolutely what I was thinking.
Sundar Pichai literally is Smith.
Yeah. Yes, he is. Yes. He's Smith. Yes.
No, I'm sorry, Winston Smith, but the other guy, the guy that was pretending to be Winston Smith's friend. This is crazy that they wield this much power. It also makes you wonder, is Google in politics?
Yeah. Well, they've done this before. They've done multiple things before. Multiple things.
Are they like part of the Democrat National Committee?
Well, I think I told you, I think I mentioned on the show that Eric Schmidt is now part of the cabal. You know, he's part of the inner workings of the government. And he quit, Google. And all I got to say is when my client, who was a billionaire back in California, and he met Eric Schmidt, they had him for dinner. And I trained both him and his wife. And both him and his wife said on multiple occasions that he was so dark and evil, that he was just a dark, evil person. And I thought that was
right
very,
with
very
the Democrats.
Yeah. I just thought that was very interesting. They said his eyes were just dark. And so both of them. And they're smart people, both of them.
Maybe.
Yeah, definitely. That's what I was thinking. But who'd he give? He gave it to Sanjay, right? The Sanjay.
Sundar Pichai,
yeah, Sundar Pichai, and he just disappeared, man. You don't hear anything from it.
Well, that's because he's working. Yeah. He's working for the CIA now.
I know he's working right up there. Yep. You know, he's
NSA.
Yeah, everything. Yep.
Now, it seems when it comes to censoring people, when it comes to making sure that no American really knows what's going on because they change the search results, you know, they have all the power, it seems, in the world. But when it comes to fighting a war, the military that we have today is not ready to fight a single war, let alone the 3 that they are trying to get us entrenched in.
Yeah, and I've got a short talk about the weekend, our weakened military, and the U.S. is not prepared to fight in 1, yet alone 3 wars, man. When I was growing up, I was proud of my dad. We just buried my dad. He was a hospital corpsman. We buried him last week, and he was 91, and he had a military burial, and it was just really cool. It was just a good send off for him, and I'll see him again soon. He was a pastor. He became a pastor when he came back. But, he was in the Navy. His brother was an Army Ranger and retired a full bird colonel. But anyway, so at that time, we possessed the most powerful military in the world by a wide margin, and pretty much nobody messed with us. So, but now everything's changed. Our military has been transformed into a woke joke. A recent congressional panel just concluded that we are not even ready to fight one major war, and we're looking at multiple wars coming. So we have spent $820 billion on national defense during the most recent fiscal year. Where is this money going? That's okay. I don't know. So I've talked about the recruiting failures in previous podcasts, all the recruitment, that's been down. Post 9/11, the military was swamped with more eager recruits than they could possibly handle. But now, as I've stated, previously, it has become a very difficult to convince young people to join our woke military. In particular, male enlistment is way, way down. So since 2013, male enlistments have dropped 35%. This is a topic I've been hammering on for a long time. So most Americans have absolutely no idea how much our national defense has been compromised. And here are 3 possible wars, well, probably for sure, wars that we're going to get in. The Middle East is about to erupt in flames. The war in Ukraine is continuing to escalate. On a sidebar, the Russians are producing almost 3 times more artillery munitions than the U.S. and Europe combined. That was a crazy stat. Lastly, we still have China knocking on Taiwan's door when they invade. So we are not equipped to fight a war with China. We aren't. And at this point, China has a larger navy than the U.S. That was a crazy stat. So those are my stats. It's a little round.
Talking to one of my friends who was in the Navy, he assures me that, yes, while they might have a bigger Navy, for every one of our ships that they would destroy, we would destroy 10 of theirs. That might be true.
Yeah.
But
I'm hoping
one of our ships being sunk by the Chinese is still a significant blow to the United States power.
Yeah. Yep.
Let's talk about, meanwhile, in this hemisphere, while we look to go to war in Europe, in the Middle East, and in Asia, this hemisphere seems to be melting down into what seems to be a complete and utter anarchy. In let's see, is it Venezuela?
Venezuela. Yeah.
Maduro's National Guard are launching attacks against protesters.
Yeah, and this is a civil war. We're seeing these civil wars pop up everywhere. They're going to be worldwide. I still look at the Deagle report, man. The 2025 Deagle report. When it just shows that the percentage of the amount of death that comes to UK, Ireland, America are top 3. Then you have Germany and all the other top 5 Western countries. But this was a stolen election, and it's funny that who was the guy that I'm trying to think of? Man, I'm drawing a blank. Was it Blinken that said this is a stolen election? Was it he who said that?
I think it was
Blinken. Yeah, and this could happen here in November, right? We could have it happened in 2020, but people were bad and happy. So, but 2024 is going to be different. If that happens in 2024, we got a lot of people and it just takes 3% to change the lot. So who knows what happens? But it's just But he started an attack, and you saw a lot of the cops that were taking off their cop uniforms and joining. You saw that, and that's been kind of dry lately. I haven't seen a whole lot on that, so I don't know what's going on. Too much is going on. Yeah, civil war. Yep. You
have a Maui update.
Yeah, I want to keep this on everybody's head because in everybody's brain, because people on Maui are unhappy and many are leaving the island. That's just sad. So a recent study is reporting that a significant number of Maui residents are unhappy, financially strained, and leaving the island. It's the same study that highlighted how Lahaina wildfire survivors were majorly traumatized by poor disaster response. You think $700 was poor and $400 billion to Ukraine was poor? Yeah, that was really poor. $700 per person and $400 billion to Ukraine. Insane. So the study also found 72% of Maui County residents have been directly affected by the fire. So that's 72% of all of Maui. That's crazy. When surveyed, the most used words were stressful and uncertain. Also, the word struggling was used. And 81% of fire survivors and 65% of county residents reported having friends move away from Maui in the aftermath of the fire. Insurance companies are still battling it out. And just keep everyone up to date, just with the fiasco. My heart and prayers go out to them. I'm always praying for them because I have friends there. I used to live there. I'm from there, So yeah, it's just tough to think about Maui, about Lahaina to be gone. Oh man.
When Greeks want to celebrate, they drop a plate and break it on the ground and they say, Opa. Mm-hmm. Now, when rich people want to clear real estate so they can buy it up with a dew weapon, they say Oprah. and they paint their roofs blue so they don't like a good Greek,
good Greek, yeah. They make sure they got a blue roof,
and white stucco.
Yeah, exactly. Oh man.
So today, the stock market melted down.
Yeah.
We have another milestone that's very interesting and very telling. Unemployment has reached American citizens. 1.2 million Americans have lost their job. And these are citizens that have a legal right to be in the country.
Yes, native born. Yep.
And 1.3 million foreigners have now gained employment. Yes.
It's a crazy stat. I heard it multiple times, and I heard it today again on one of my channels that I was listening to. This is what a stat they put out, but it's a crazy stat. It's nuts what they're trying to do. So yeah, it's almost as bad. I'm gonna go on the next story. Pelosi went on 60 Minutes and dodges a question on leading the coup to oust Joe Biden, then says Joe should be on Mount Rushmore. Oh, man. And just remember all the good Joe Biden and the regime has done. So remember, here's all the things they've done. They stole the 2020 election. If you don't realize that, I have some swamp to sell you, some swampland. Anyway, gave money and weapons to the Taliban, destroying our military, destroying our food supply, destroying our energy and gas, disassemble our border, and encourage an invasion of our own country. I could go on and on and on and on. But I just did a short news blast. And
Nancy Pelosi says that he belongs on Mount Rushmore. I'd say that Nancy Pelosi deserves to be on a milk carton.
Yes. Oh man, I don't know. She's lost her mind, and that's who we have. That's our Romans 1. That's our Romans 1 leaders right there. Yeah. Who else would you suggest? Look at Nero. Right? I mean, please.
I mean, Nero is what's saying, you know what you're getting with Nero. But I would say that I'd say that Kamala Harris is like a Caligula.
Yeah. That's a good, wow. Oh man. Well, speaking of Kamala, we're gonna go off on a Kamala little rant here. That's Kamala. a good segue.
She talks about her time as Attorney General of California, which means her time's basically degrading the law and order of the Golden State. With this person, man,
woman, I don't know who it is.
I'm sorry, am I misgendering? I don't know. Here we go. We have this one.
When I was Attorney General, I learned that the California Department of Corrections, which was a client of mine.
Oh, a client.
I didn't get to choose my client.
A client of the Attorney General.
I'm a client of the Attorney General, of the Office of Attorney General, that they were standing in the way of surgery.
For prisoners.
For prisoners. And there was a specific case. And when I learned about the case, I worked behind the scenes to not only make sure that transgender woman got the services she was deserving. So it wasn't only about that case. I made sure that they changed the policy in the state of California so that every transgender inmate in the prison system would have access to the medical care that they desired and need. And I believe it was not only, I know it was historic in California, but I believe actually it may have been one of the first, if not the first in the country, where I pushed for that policy in a Department of Corrections.
So let me get this straight, Ken.
Finish for that. Wow.
Let me get this straight real quick. So Ken, rather than first elective surgery, it's something that is elective. It's not going to save their life.
Nope.
But if they were to do it privately, it would probably cost them, I don't know, couple, maybe $50,000-$60,000, probably more.
Easily, probably more.
But rather than have them work hard, save money to fulfill their dream of mutilating themselves, taxpayers get to pay for it.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's it.
Hardworking people that are trying to feed their families get to pay extra taxes so that deranged people, can be able to mutilate themselves.
Yeah.
Something is very sick in her mind.
This is the person who is, going to be president. Yeah. So they're not going to let Trump in. They're pushing for this girl. Man, I thought it'd be, I don't know, man. I'd almost rather Hillary or Michelle than this one. At least they're, these are a little bit pushed back.
Yeah.
How much? Yeah.
Now, I just want to remind everyone here that we here at Ken's Corner absolutely know that Kamala Harris is black. I just want to get that off the table. However, she also says that she cooks great collard greens in a sag aloo style. And she has fried chicken tikka masala as well. Here we have a video of her.
Okay, so what we're going to cook today is an Indian recipe.
Yes.
Because you are Indian.
Yes.
Okay, and I don't know that everybody knows that, but I find that wherever I go and I see Indian people at the supermarket, on the street, everyone's like, Kamala Harris is Indian, right? It's like the thing we're so excited about to have you running for president.
Yeah.
So we're both Indian, but actually we're both South Indian.
Yes. You look like the entire one half of my family.
Okay, thank you.
You do.
I've been telling people we're related already, so this is perfect. It's basically true.
Most sane, rational people would not be proud that they're related to her.
Yeah. It's like, and we're arguing about, and then her dad's from Jamaica, so she's.
And now
It's just.
if it wasn't painful before, prepare yourselves. Prepare yourselves. This truly is horrific. This is a video that someone thought was a good idea to make.
It's only a minute long, folks. Only a minute. You see it. I've seen it. Now you got to see it.
She can get bills passed in Congress that'll protect me and you. Black, white, Latino, Asian, or LGBTQ. But she can get this country back to where we can stand tall. Keeping us safe from harm without building a wall. 'Cause she's a woman.
Unlike you.
Unlike you.
I'll say it again. She's a woman.
Yeah, she's. Now, Ken, I would just to remind everyone, real quickly, of a fact that I think many people are overlooking. First of all, we must acknowledge that Kamala Harris is not only black, but she is Indian. Now, I have done some research, and I have uncovered some interesting things. Now, I don't know if this is prophetic for the United States when she becomes president, but here we have a picture that I wanted to share. Everyone, this person right here is known as Kali. And Kali is the goddess of empowerment and chaos and death. Now, Kamala, Kali, is there a connection, Ken? I think I recall maybe something. Wow.
Yeah.
I think I solved it. Wait, it's the Thuggy cult. All over again.
Oh man. Oh dude.
I think we have one.
Yeah, let's lighten it up.
We have one more video. Now, in anticipation of her presidency, we see businesses basically tripping over themselves to make sure that there's a market for the new goddess.
Introducing the all-new Kia Kamala, the first car to go from 0 to nominee in 0 votes.
I really love Venn diagrams. The circles, right? 3 usually.
The Kamala is affordable because it's made with cheap foreign labor that came here illegally.
I'd say we're not paying them nearly enough.
And while it looks small on the outside, the interior is as roomy as a big yellow school bus.
Who doesn't love a yellow school bus, right?
And best of all, the state-of-the-art GPS will take you everywhere, except the southern border.
This whole thing about the border, we've been to the border. We've been to the border.
You haven't been to the border.
And I haven't been to Europe. I don't understand the point that you're making.
The Kia Kamala. Critics agree it's not a smart car.
Oh, wow. I wonder what the price point on a car like that is.
Yeah, I don't know.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I just want to say that there's many things going on in the world, and yes,
too much.
And yes, here in the United States, it looks terrible considering this election coming up. And I say election, but really what I mean is selection.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to give you a scripture that I've chose two verses this week that I think are very, very important that we as Christians need to remember. And it's Matthew 10, verses 32 and 33. And it all ties in with what we're talking about. Therefore, whoever confesses me before men, him I will also confess before the Father who is in heaven. But whoever denies me before men, him I will also deny before my Father in heaven. Count yourselves lucky if the world hates you when you confess with your life, with your testimony, with your words, with your deeds, that you love Jesus Christ. You love his word. You hide the values that come from knowing your Messiah in your heart. And the world hates that. And whoever denies these absolute truths to their existence as human beings, they're denied before the Father in heaven, while you're being confessed before the Father in heaven. That there's some comfort there, I think, for every one of us.
Amen.
Ken, you have final word this week.
I just want to thank the Lord for having us be alive at this time, and it's history, it's prophetic history. And, I just pray the Lord help us be wise and able to help others understand what's going on, and all part of his grand plan. And he's in control of everything. And, I just pray he blesses us this week, and that give us opportunity to share the gospel. So that's all. And that's just the most important part, is sharing the gospel, bring more people into the kingdom as much as possible. And it's going to be rough times, folks, but you know what? We have Jesus.
Amen.
He's coming back. He's coming back.
Amen. Well, Ken, again, wonderful catching up with you. Hope to see you soon. You take care. Until next time, thank you for watching this episode of Ken's Corner. Comment, share, and leave a like. We love you guys. God bless.